cities, and I did want to, say something about property and how we use property in our towns and cities. And I know there have been lots of calls for, and we've seen it in England, relaxing planning rules to look at actually, streetscapes and what might have been used for retail premises. Could that be housing? Could it be all sorts of stuff? But a key strand of Sheen & Tate's specialism is advising Scotland's property sector, and I know that a lot of people are very worried about property investment and generally how that will fare. I mean, do you think there are opportunities there, Graeme?
Yeah, very, very much so. And I think so. There's a few things in all of this. I mean, before I go into that, it'd be useful to come back to your point about the point about diversity. I mean, one of the things that we've found in research that we've done is that one of the biggest barriers to particularly women going into the labour market is that if they have caring responsibilities, their commuting area is very narrow because they have to be within 5 miles of a nursery or 5 miles of their school or 5 miles of an elderly relative. If you're able to work from home, then suddenly that commuting has become much broader, and that's where there's a real opportunity, which does get into the issues around then what does that mean for property within city centres and things. And I think one of the things that we've known over the last decade or so is that the future of city centres will look quite different than it was in the past. A whole variety of reasons. Digital was always going to be something that changed the way of work. The transition to net zero, not only do we need to think about how we move to low carbon technologies, but actually we need to stop travelling. We need to reduce the amount we travel around by significant amounts. So the city centres were always going to have to be reimagined about bringing more people who are working in city centres and engaging in the retail and culture, actually closer within the city boundary, and then reimagining that whole space about how you view a city. So I think there are real opportunities in all of this to relook at our cities and to think about, well, actually, what's our city for now as a centrepiece within a regional area, but the centrepiece in the national area. So thinking about the balance between commercial property, between retail, but also cultural experience. When people come in, they're coming in for that broader experience across the cities. And there'll be some really tough choices in all of that. So really tough choices about the balance of transport, about how people move around, about the size of the space that exists in all of that. But there's real opportunities, I think, to think about how you can do that in quite a different way. And one caveat I'd always say as well is that it's easy in the height of a crisis to think about how things are going to be radically different. And we have swung to an extreme end. It will start to move back, and that city centres are always going to be attractive areas for property and for businesses to locate. There's lots of evidence from economics over the years about agglomeration effects, about cluster effects, about the value of having a community of businesses which are close together and integrated to one another, that bounce off one another, links to education and higher education facilities and further education, transport hubs. There's the demise of the city, I think, as a driver of an economic beacon, I think is grossly overestimated in many ways. The city will still be the economic heart of the Scottish economy for years to come. It will look quite different in the way we all access it will be different. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, as a city dweller, music lover, close to the university, cultural experience, I agree with you that and that's where you really get your diversity as well, which is so important, for Scotland as well.